Animal Crossing has changed so much over the years, whether for better or worse is up to interpretation, but today I wanted to go over some of the things that we've lost throughout the franchise, from characters to shops to even something as simple as tree stumps. Gulliver's UFO made appearances in Wild World, City Folk, and was a major part of the storyline in the Animal Crossing movie made in 2006. In Wild World and City Folk, you used to have to shoot down the UFO with your slingshot, then gather the parts from the broken UFO and give them to Gulliver in exchange for one of his exotic items. While this wasn't pivotal to the gameplay, I do think it's a much more unique experience to fix a UFO than to fix a smartphone like you do in New Horizons. The gameplay aspect of Gulliver is basically the same since you're still looking for pieces, but I just thought that the UFO was a lot cooler than a smartphone. At the start of every Animal Crossing game before New Horizons, your appearance was determined by a quiz given to you at the start of the game. In addition to this quiz, there was a hairstylist named Harriet who would give you a quiz every time you wanted to change your hair, and that would determine the hairstyle she gave you, rather than just choosing one for yourself. While I do like that there are more inclusive options in the newest addition to Animal Crossing, I do wish that they still use quizzes and the looks were more permanent. It's unfortunate that now to change our looks we just look in a mirror and the entire hair salon is just gone. Going to the hair salon was one of my favorite things to do daily in the older Animal Crossing games, and I'm just kind of sad that I don't get to do that anymore. In the original Animal Crossing population growing, in order to send a letter out, the post office had to be completely full. From then on, the post office did not have to be full for mail to go out. However, in New Horizons, the post office is completely gone, and now you send mail from the airport. Unfortunately, with the loss of the post office, we also lost Phyllis and Pelly, our cute little pelican girls. Phyllis and Pelly were really cute characters in Animal Crossing. Phyllis was the older sister and Pelly was the younger sister, and they were virtually opposites. Phyllis worked the nighttime shift at the post office while Pelly worked the daytime shift. Phyllis was more antisocial while Pelly was more upbeat and social, and they were just a fun duo to get to talk to. While I'm happy for the change that you didn't have to wait for the post office to be full anymore, I'm just sad to see the entire post office now gone from the game. It was always a really cute building with really cute music, and it just makes me sad that it's gone because it's been consistent since the first game. In all of the games up until New Leaf, in order to progress through the beginning of the game, you have to get a job with Tom Nook, doing menial tasks to get the first loan of your house paid off. These tasks include introducing yourself to villagers inhabiting your town, delivering packages, sending out advertisements for Nook's shop to villagers, although I usually just shit-talk him though, and planting flowers outside of his shop, but I usually just steal them and plant them outside my own house. In New Leaf, Tom no longer has a shop, so he can no longer employ you. In New Leaf, the part-time job was replaced by an optional tutorial given to you by Isabelle called Advice for Living Here. However, it's just completely gone from New Horizons. As we all know, in New Horizons, most of the shops are gone. In Wild World and City Folk, the city was introduced, which had several new shops including Shampoodle, Gracie's, and many others. In New Leaf, retail and the gardening store were introduced. With these new shops, we got a ton of new characters and fun gimmicks. One of my favorite things to do with retail was list my own furniture for high prices and then push my villagers into them and convince them to buy my furniture for extremely high prices. Another thing I loved doing was getting my hair done based on a quiz instead of just picking out in a mirror, as I stated before. In New Horizons, all of these new fun shops are gone and we're left with Nook's Cranny and the Able Sisters, and Nook's Cranny is the only one that's, upgradable, and it only upgrades once in this game instead of several times like it does in past games. My main issue with this is now our islands are so customizable, and other than the houses, we really don't have anything to fill the islands with. A lot of people end up just making their own shops out of items, and it doesn't look as good as it would with actual storefronts being scattered throughout their islands. The roost and the observatory were first introduced in Wild World as an addition to the museum. Since then, Brewster and Celeste have been beloved reoccurring characters in the series. In New Horizons, we unfortunately lost the roost and the observatory. Celeste is still a character in New Horizons, however, poor Brewster got the axe this time around until a more recent update where they did bring back the roost and Brewster. In my opinion, it's too little too late for this one, and I was super disappointed to see the roost make its return inside the museum instead of a freestanding building like it was in New Leaf. Also, why bring back the roost if you're not going to bring back the observatory? It just sucks that you only get to see Celeste every now and then outside. It just I don't know, I'm sad about it. I really liked the observatory. Leif is a character that was introduced in Animal Crossing New Leaf. In New Leaf, he had his own shop and sold all of your gardening needs such as tools and plants. He also offered a service where he pulled all the weeds in your town for a price depending on how many weeds were growing. In New Horizons, instead of having his own shop, he's an occasional villager with his own flower cart, or you can visit his shop at Harv's Island since the 2.0 update. With the 2.0 update, the option to have him pull weeds has returned, but there is a minimum amount you need on your island and it costs 100,000 bells to have that done. In my opinion, at this point, all he's really good for is getting some extra bells when selling weeds, as he pays 20 bells for each one. Perfect fruits were a super fun addition to Animal Crossing New Leaf. In all Animal Crossing games, you start out with one native fruit, and over time you can collect the other fruits available and grow them on your island. At the start of New Leaf, you were also given one perfect fruit tree, where the fruit was worth more money. You could replant them and grow even more perfect fruit. However, these trees will eventually wilt, unlike non-perfect fruit trees, which will continue to yield fruit until you chop them down. In addition to that, you can only grow native perfect fruit on your island. So if my native fruit was an apple, I can only grow perfect apples. I couldn't grow perfect pears. In addition to that, non-native perfect fruit was worth a lot of money. So I would take my perfect apples to somebody who had a native fruit of pears and sell all of those for a huge amount of bells. It was just a really fun way to make more money in game. Along with perfect fruits, New Leaf also introduced exotic fruits that did not make a comeback in New Horizons. These fruits are lemons, mangoes, durans, lychee, banana, and Parmesan. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I truly don't know how to pronounce that. These fruits can only be found in New Leaf and Pocket Camp. Grapes are another fruit left out of New Horizons. However, they're currently exclusive to Pocket Camp. When I realized that the megaphone was not in New Horizons, I was so upset. The megaphone was an extremely useful tool that was added in New Leaf that just didn't make a comeback for some reason. The megaphone made use of the 3DS's built-in microphone and allowed you to call out your villagers and special characters if you were having trouble finding them. If they were outside, they would respond with dialogue intended to help you find them, like over here. If they did not respond, that meant that they were either in the town or they were inside of a house or a building. It just made it a lot easier to find your villagers or special characters. It's super unfortunate that it didn't make a comeback because oftentimes I find myself running around for far too long looking for characters. I don't think the Switch has a microphone, but this easily could have been replaced with the keyboard. I don't know. I wish it was in the game. Gems and ore were also introduced in Animal Crossing New Leaf. In New Leaf, there was a fake rock that would spawn on your island every day that would yield 8 pieces of ore. Additionally, if you hit the money rock that also spawned on your island daily with the silver shovel, there was a chance that you can get 1 piece of ore out of it instead of money as one of the drops. And by ore, I also mean gems. I'm just kind of using a blanket term because saying gems and ore is kind of annoying. But there was gems and ore in this game, and both would come out of those rocks. These gems and ore could be sold for a decent amount of bells, or you could use them to get custom furniture from retail. Additionally, if you brought Cyrus 10,000 bells and 3 pieces of golden ore, he would make you a random piece of furniture from the golden series. My favorite way to customize furniture in New Leaf was to use gems to make gem furniture. It was so pretty and I was beyond disappointed to not see it make its return in New Horizons. Since its initial release of Animal Forest on N64, Nintendo has been including special Nintendo themed items within the Animal Crossing franchise, including things like the Master Sword from Legend of Zelda series, Red Shell from Mario Kart, and even working NES systems that played real NES games in population growing. These items have always been a blast to collect and proudly displayed. However, in New Horizons, they've pretty much gone away with Nintendo collectibles. In New Leaf, you could buy fortune cookies with StreetPass tokens to get some really cool Nintendo items, giving kids a good incentive to get some exercise for in-game prizes. In New Horizons, there have not been many Nintendo items given out. There have been a few Switches that your character can have in their house, a Ring Fit ring, and a Mario collection, and I'm pretty sure that that's it. These items were mailed to us by Nintendo, meaning that we didn't have to do anything to receive them, hardly making them collectible. In my opinion, it was much more fun to get your daily fortune cookies and get a random item and try to collect all of the Nintendo items instead of just having a set released or having them be mailed to you directly in-game. In addition to them getting rid of the StreetPass coins and the fortune cookies, which obviously makes sense because it's no longer in the 3DS, however, you can always expand on an old idea, they got rid of the StreetPass Plaza. which again makes sense because there's no more StreetPass. However, this easily could have been turned into the Friend Plaza, where you can visit your in-game friends' houses to go shopping in them, because I used to shop all the time in the StreetPass Plaza, and that's how I got most of the furniture that wasn't super accessible in-game. My house in Animal Crossing New Leaf was decked out in really cool furniture that was never available in my game other than through the StreetPass Plaza. I mean, it's not as hard to get items in New Horizons since most of the items are just gone. Like, if you look at the catalog from New Leaf to New Horizons, a ton of the really, fun items are just completely missing from the game, which sucks. But in my opinion, what sucks even more is not being able to just buy the furniture that your friends have through a plaza, because that was just so nice. It was so nice to be able to just do that whenever you wanted. Something that I don't understand that was taken out of New Horizons that was from Animal Crossing New Leaf was the mansion option. After your house is fully upgraded, you can't turn your house into a mansion, which I think is super weird because it was so cool. Basically, a mansion just made your house look a lot bigger than the villager houses, and it was just a really cool thing to be able to do. Also, the room sizes in New Leaf, I believe, are bigger because you can upgrade each room like 2 or 3 times instead of how in New Horizons, I'm pretty sure you can only make the attic, basement, and the first front room larger. I don't know why they took that out because the side rooms are tiny in New Horizons. A huge part of life and relationships is that people will unfortunately come and go. This has played a huge role in Animal Crossing up until New Horizons. Before New Horizons, it was relatively difficult to manipulate the game into giving you villagers you wanted, and even then they could still move away with no warning. While it was frustrating to see one of your friends move away, someone new would always take their place, and you'd learn to love the new villager and appreciate them for more than their physical appearance. However, in New Horizons, the villagers are basically just trophies, and you can dictate if they stay or leave. You want an all-pink island, but Al moved in, you can just kick him out with an amiibo card. You have Raymond, and he wants to go on a jet-set adventure, you can say no and keep him hostage for all of eternity. I personally don't mind that you have so much power over your villagers, but I do miss not stressing so much over having all 10 of my villagers being dreamies all the time. It was something that added a lot of variety to a pretty slow-paced game. Like now, I kind of stress over not having villagers that I love because they're so obtainable, when before it was kind of just you get what you get and you don't get upset. Minigames have been in pretty much every Animal Crossing game, and there's still some in New Horizons. Unfortunately, they've just been cut back. They were at their peak in New Leaf with the island tours giving you something fun you could do with your friends, while also earning medals you could use to purchase special furniture sets such as the mermaid set and a few others. The only minigame I've come across in New Horizons is that one time my villagers asked me to play hide and seek, which is unfortunate because I have over 700 hours in the game and I've only been asked once. Resetti is an NPC based on a mole who used to yell at you for not saving your game before shutting it off. He's been in the game since the beginning and is a pretty iconic character within the Animal Crossing franchise. Unfortunately, in New Horizons, he is no longer needed because of the autosave feature that was added. However, they were planning on getting rid of him anyways because apparently he was scaring little girls who play Animal Crossing. In New Horizons, his new job is to teleport you back to civilization if you get too lost while playing. However, you don't see Resetti in the process, you only hear his well-known voice and iconic music. It's pretty sad that this beloved and iconic character got such a demotion. In Animal Crossing, there are several unique personalities that get assigned to villagers. These personalities used to be much more predominant in the older entries of the series. Snooty and cranky villagers would oftentimes be harsh and nasty to you. Popstar and peppy villagers would be narcissistic and full of themselves, and even the nicer villager personality types like normal and lazy villagers would be rude to you depending on the kind of day they're having. This has been shown less and less as the newer titles have been released, and now in New Horizons they're almost completely gone. Other than a few pieces of dialogue to specify a villager's personality type, they're all boring, no-depth trophies walking around your village, adding almost nothing to the gameplay experience other than looking cute. Is it so wrong that I just want Anka to step on me again? Okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna bring up, and it's probably what I missed the most. It's a very small detail, but It's something that I really, really liked about New Leaf, and I'm really sad it's gone. In New Leaf, when you cut down trees, there was a chance you'd have a special stump with a cool pattern on it. They had some with hearts, triforces, and other shapes. This was so cool because then you'd have something new and fun to show off in your town. Sometimes it was a double-edged sword because you'd be cutting down trees to like put down a public works project or something, and then you'd have to dig it up and you'd lose your cool stump. But it was like such a cool thing to just randomly find in your town. I really, really liked it, and I'm really upset that it's gone, especially now that New Horizons is so customizable and you're planting trees and cutting them down all the time. It's pretty much not, I mean, it's not for nothing, but it's a wasted opportunity because you could have had really cool stumps all around your town and they're just gone. I'm very sad about it. I really liked those. I'm sure I missed a ton of things that have come and gone in Animal Crossing over the years, but these were just some of the ones that I missed the most, and I'm pretty sad that they're gone from the games. That being said, I love New Horizons. It's a great game, but I do feel like Animal Crossing has unfortunately lost a lot of its charm in its newest addition to the franchise. Let me know what features you missed the most in the comments down below. I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye!